Okay, we're here with the Phantom 3 Professional, and with its little gimbal fix as well, and we're going to take it for a flight out in that direction, and
controlling shutter speed,
and we're going to test the range. Now here you can see the antennas are in the upright position. They're upright, so when I'm flying, no matter what I try to do, I'll always try to keep them in pretty much the upright position like that. We're going to fly out to 1,000 feet, and then we're going to turn the antennas 45 degrees like that, then 90 degrees, which would mean I think we're going to lose the signal at 1,000 meters. We're going to turn it back, and then we're going to try 45 degrees like that, which is not good. Then we're going to turn that at 90 degrees, okay, and then we're going to try horizontal like that, and we're going to hold them horizontally, and we're going to turn them sideways, and we're going to turn them like that, and then we're going to turn them back like that. So let's see what the signals are like. The L-shaped joints to right across the, you can see my camera and me. Okay, the drone is down there. It says it's got 13 satellites. It's a really foggy day, as you can see. So let's set the copter up and send it in that direction into the mist, which should also be bad for for signal on a day like this. To send it into the mist for 1,000 meters. So okay, right, ready to take off. Doesn't seem to be any aircraft around today. I wonder why that is in the mist. Okay, ready to go.
93.
So, all good so far. Let me just get the thing so I can see my altitude. Distance 57.
93% battery.
57 meters. Let's get a bit of altitude. Not that we really need it, but let's just get some anyway. So we're 154. Right, okay, so the rabbit ears should be up now to make sure we got a good signal. Let's fly into the mist. Okay. My camera is actually pointing down at the moment. Let's put the camera up.
91% battery.
God, flying into the mist is a bit of a weird one. I'm going to send it up just in case, and let's have a look where we are. So there we are, 100 meters, that's 300 feet. Okay, we've got a perfect signal at the moment. As you can see, we've got a perfect signal. There we are, coming up on 1,000.
85% battery.
And no signal problems at all, even in the mist. So we'll stop there. Oh, there we are. We just had 3 bars. So we're on 3 bars. Okay, so this is vertical. Now watch what happens if I turn it sideways. Nothing. Nothing.
83% battery.
Now what happens if I put them horizontal? Like that. Yes, the bars go down, look. Horizontally, the bars have gone down to number 3. What if I go sideways horizontally? They should go down even more. There, they've gone. So if I come back to that position, they go up.
81% battery.
If I put them vertical, I get all the signal back. All the signal back. Okay, so it just goes to prove a point. What happens if I go on the side again? Not a lot. But if I go horizontally, watch now.
80% battery.
Horizontally, look, I've lost the signal. I lost the signal then. Look, the signal is fluctuating. So horizontal is definitely not what you want to do. So let's put them back vertical. And like that, vertical. Okay. So, what about 45 degrees? That way and that way. Does that help?
77% battery.
Now the controller's suffering now. The control signal's suffering. So, there we are, 45 degrees. Does that help? The controller signal is now going a bit low, if you can see. What if I turn that 90 degrees on the side? Does that help?
76% battery.
No, not too bad. What if I go downwards? Yes, gone straight away. Look, gone straight away. Now that's at that angle, right? You see, horizontal is rubbish. Vertical, and both signals just went. Vertical is better, but the best of all is like that. So before I get into any more trouble,
battery.
I'm going to turn around and I'm going to bring the copter back to me. So let's try it with the copter facing in the other direction. As you can see, it's facing in the other direction now. So let's turn it on the side. No real effect. Turn it away from the... Yeah, if you turn it away, it's bad. So you've always got to have these two pointing in the direction. Okay, if we turn it away from the direction, it goes down. You see, it doesn't like it. Always wants them facing the direction you're flying. Okay. Now the bad one will be horizontal. So let's go horizontal. Battery. So horizontal. Signal's gone. Well, it's come back a bit, but that's absolutely horizontal. Okay, we're losing the signal a little bit. And if we go slightly sideways or slightly sideways, terrible, terrible. But if you have them up like this, you can go slightly sideways and slightly sideways, no problem at all. So this proves to you straight up polarization is perfect. Horizontal, lose it, lose the signal. Well, sometimes it loses the signal. There, loses the signal a little bit.
67% battery.
So, you know, losing the signal, full signal. Okay, so that's straight up, that's what you want. So let's bring the copter back now. Make sure these are absolutely parallel and pointing straight in the air. There is no other way to do it. So hopefully we'll catch
64% battery.
Catch the drone as it comes back in. This is technically not line of sight flying, but nobody's going to be flying in that mist today across those fields. Absolutely nobody.
Battery.
I can hear it. Okay.
58% battery.
There he is. Let's film it. There he is. And here's why you don't want to really fly in clouds, because they contain rain. You see, it's not raining, but that is wet. And look at the lens. Look at the lens, completely rained on. So I'm going to have to dry this off a minute, but I think it proves a point about antenna positions. You know, you are maybe going to have to angle the controller slightly further up to get these vertical. Okay, vertical is always best. Now there is I say this as a caveat, there is an argument, because of the antennas being up straight, that when the copter flies on its side, I'll show you where the antennas are located. The antennas, you can spot them because they have little grey wires. Okay, and there's one there, and there's one there, one there, one there, one there, and one there. Okay, and this thingy down here is the compass. I believe that's the compass, and the GPS is on the top. Okay, so you don't want to get magnetic things near the compass, and you always have to leave these antennas clear. But say for instance you're flying directly away from the controller. Well, the way that the copter is going to fly is like this. So its antennas are still vertical. They're still up like that. So they match the straight up of this. But when you fly left to right across the horizon, you know, when you're doing that, there is an argument that could be put forward that when the copter's flying like this, that theoretically you could match the antennas slightly that way if you were getting signal problems, and then when the copter stops flying across the horizon, you would have to do that, and when the copter goes like that, you could go like that. And it's simply so that they match in parallel, the antennas and their polarization there. In theory then, if the drone was actually able to fly on its side, which it can't do, the best position for your antennas would be sideways. And if you kept them upright, you'd lose the signal. So it's all about keeping these antennas, 1, 2, 3, 4, keeping those in exactly the same polarization as the copter. Okay, before the science bit, let's have a little giggle with some antennas. These are old school antennas for 5.8 gigahertz. Doesn't matter if they're 5.8 or 2.4, they're operating the microwave band. And because they're microwave, they're highly polarized, which means that if on your copter you have your little wires hanging out in an up-down direction, then your transmitter also needs to have its antenna like this. And guess what? That's why they put these little things to allow you to do that. And it locks in 2 positions. But that's the reason they have it, because if you were in the wrong position, it would be bad. So if you're operating your controller like that, yeah, then you'd want it pointing straight up. That's why they have it. If you had it out that way, you wouldn't get a signal. So that's why they have the L-shaped joints. But the trouble is, if you're flying your copter doing stunts and various things, you know, flying on its side, when you do that, the signals become incompatible. Yeah, because this antenna here is transmitting radio waves up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, right? Okay, if you have this one like this, it's transmitting radio signals left, right, left, right, left, right. Yeah, and they don't mesh, they don't resonate each other, because the signals in this antenna won't resonate this antenna, okay, because this field is going in the wrong direction. But the moment you put it up like this field gets a sympathetic resonance in this antenna, and that's what it's all about. To get around this, because you're flying along and you're doing this sort of thing in the air all the time, and your signal's going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And video signals were particularly susceptible to this. This is why they invented the clover leaf. Because the clover leaf, which looks like that, actually is a circular polarized antenna, which means it doesn't suffer from the up down, or left right and variances of it. What it does is it transmits in all directions at all times. Yeah, so but it does it in a clockwise manner or an anti-clockwise manner. So it means that it doesn't matter which direction you have these antennas. You can have them straight up, you can have one on the side, you can have one like that, you can have it upside down. It doesn't matter, because it's producing a circular field, but it's going either clockwise, yeah, or it's going anti-clockwise in these various directions. Okay, some people call that left hand polarization, some people call it right hand. Right hand is clockwise on the clock. So right hand would be clockwise, so clockwise, and left hand would be anti-clockwise. So that's why they use these things. But unfortunately, on your controller, for your Phantom or your Mavic or your P4 or your Inspire or a number of other copters, they have these straight up antennas, so they don't circularly polarize them. Now you can rip them off, but it means modifications. But just keep them up straight. You don't have to modify it. You keep the controller up straight and you'll be fine. And so why does it do this? Why is the signal, you know, sort of not able to get in there when it's at 90 degrees? And this thing to do with polarization is exactly the same thing as in these IMAX glasses from the cinema. Okay, doesn't work with real 3D glasses. Real 3D is a different format, and I tried it earlier on, it doesn't work, but it does for IMAX because they use classic polarization, i.e. up and across, so it behaves like the antennas. Okay, guess what? I think these use some sort of circular polarization, so they get circular polarization in these glasses too. Completely different system. So these glasses are, one is going vertical, one is going horizontal. Now it's very hard to know which is which, but here's the point: if you cross them, it all goes black. So let's test it out, and in order to do this, I have to snap them in half like that. So now we've got two glasses. Watch what happens when we cross them. Yeah, you can't see anything. Now you can. Now you can't. That's how polarization works. And we can test this with a torch. Just to make this easier to visualize and remember, on this glass, I'm going to say that the signal is vertically polarized, i.e. is doing that. Okay, like a little snake. It's vertically polarized and it's going like that, whereas the horizontal one will be going like that across. So the horizontal one will have to be done slightly differently. So it's going to be going across like that, and the signal will be going accordingly across like that. Now remember, in light terms, because light is very similar to microwaves in the fact that it's polarized, it doesn't accept the different directions. When they cross, they cancel each other out. And it's all to do with slitting. It's like a slit. So in this glass, there's slitting, and that's what causes the polarization. And this type of slit won't accept that type of signal. And that type of slit going vertically won't accept that type of signal, so it blocks it out. So that's the physics. You might remember some of this from school, but the beauty of it is that if you get a light and you put a light source behind there, you see it dims it out. Okay, and then the light source becomes bright. You turn it sideways, it nearly almost, look, right at the middle there's a magic spot, and it almost kills the light. Look, let's do it up close. See, it's almost killing it. Look, the light's there, it's nearly gone, nearly gone. Turn it, loads of light, turn it back, look, the light's nearly gone. And that's the magic behind polarization. So now, is it making sense? There's a magic spot that when you turn your antenna like that, disappears. The signal goes. And it's pretty low around here. There's going to be a magic spot where you're going to lose all the signal. Things, and I've even seen people saying that you need to have a glass, and that the glass, you can put a glass in front of the antenna, and you can get your antenna inside a glass bottle, or that won't work because glass allows radio waves through. So some people have thought, oh, you can do it with a can. You can put a can on your antenna. No, a can is really bad, because what it will do is the metal on the outside of the can will kill the signal. So the only way the signal can get in is through the end or the other end of the can. And what happens is it narrows it down so that it can only see in one direction. So then, instead of being able to see your copter out across the horizon to the left and to the right, now it can only see your copter in a very thin beam, which means that unless you've got your transmitter or controller pointed exactly like a rifle, exactly at the copter, you lose the signal, gain the signal, lose the signal, gain the signal, lose the signal. So that's why you do not want to use Yagis and beam antennas on signals unless you've got a very specific purpose for doing it, and you can use a tripod and a sighting system, and you've got to try and keep this area that you know the copter is flying in, and you've got to make very minor increments. So anyway, if you want to get a really big, really long distance out of your copter, I guarantee you your battery will die long before you go out of the range of this antenna. Okay, this is the daddy that will get you 15-20 miles on your signal, but it's incredibly directional. And what do we have inside? We have lateral beams. Let's have a look. These are known as Yagi elements, and notice they all point upwards. So which way do you think you'd have to have your antenna on your copter if you were flying with that? It would have to be upwards. And if you made the silly mistake of angling your beam like that sideways when you're trying to get a distant signal, you'd almost get no signal. So there's the science. You do not want to use one of these. They're incredibly incredibly directional, and the difference between that and that would be 100% signal and no percent signal. So this is really only for specialists that know what they're doing, or radio amateurs, not well suited for copter flying.